Hello, good afternoon. I will switch to English. Sorry, I don't speak Bulgarian, but I hope it's fine with you. Anyway, if you have any question afterwards and you want to put them in Bulgarian, it's fine. And my colleague will assist with the translation. I'm Monika BOCHENEK. I work for the European Executive Agency Education and Culture, which is dealing, among others, with Erasmus Plus program that you know probably. And in the Erasmus Plus program, we have Jean Monnet Actions. That this is the program I'm responsible for, and I would like to share with you more information to encourage you to take part in this program. I know that you are already active in the EP School Ambassador, and this is great. But this does not mean that you cannot participate in other funding opportunities. So let me share my presentation. Just go to the presentation and then move. Oh, okay, no, it's this one. Voila.
I think you stopped.
It's okay?
You stopped.
I stopped sharing. Okay. Once again, I don't know what happened, but let me reshare. Wait. So you. Let me put just the full screen, but I have to move this stuff because if not, I don't see it. Voila. Good.
No, it's not.
It's okay. I hope that now it's okay. So the Erasmus program, as you may know, of course, it includes a lot of activities, a lot of actions, a lot of opportunities for the teachers, for the pupils, for the students, for the adults generally, for whoever, any citizens. And there's three key actions that we can probably, you know very well, mobility, because this is the famous mobility of students, but also there is mobility for the teachers. There are some cooperation, partnership projects, and so on. But Jean Monnet Actions, they are apart. They are not part of any key actions. And I don't know if you have any experience in applying for the funds with your national Erasmus Plus agency, but for Jean Monnet Actions, you cannot apply to the national agency. You have to apply to us, so directly to the commission, and we manage the selection and implementation of the projects. Okay, I'm not able to move it. Why I cannot use this? I don't know why. Okay, let me check why I cannot move my slides. Okay. So for the Jean Monnet Actions, we have three strands, let's say like this. So there is like one strand dedicated to the higher education institution. So as you can imagine, this is for the universities, so for this third level education. But there is a strand that it's for the other fields of education and training. So it means for the schools, for the primary schools, secondary schools, and also for the vocational education institutions. So this kind of applicants. And the first strand is about networks. So networks, in your case, it will be networks of the schools, but don't worry, I will explain in more details. So what is the idea behind? The Jean Monnet program exists since '89, and it was conceived as the actions promoting excellence in teaching and researching on EU studies. So generally, at the origin, it was planned that we will support the professors at the higher education institutions, that they have possibility to teach about the EU, to research about the EU, and by this have an impact on the students, on the organizations, And those students, they will become active EU citizens. In 2000, Jean Monnet Actions spread worldwide. So, for example, in 2000, it opened also for Bulgaria. So as of 2001, they could apply, but still it was only higher education institutions. But since 21, also those the schools became eligible for the funding. And following the European Parliament report in 16, there was the idea that we need that the citizens has a better understanding of the EU, and we need that they somehow connect to the EU and they know EU. But doing it only once at the higher education level, for me myself, I think it's late, because this EU content should be bring earlier to the schools, so the students can get the information, then they can judge. They can. We don't exclude, of course, critical thinking, but they can be more knowledgeable and they can be more aware, and in this way they have possibility better participate in the democratic process. So following this report, there was the Council recommendation saying that this European dimension is also needed in the teaching. And then the policymaker proposed those new actions that will be available for the schools. And so the objective was very simple, that the pupils, they can understand better what is the European Union, what are the values, the functioning, and so on, and how EU is present in their daily life already. But at the same time, we have also some possibilities for teachers. So it's a kind of double benefit of the projects, that pupils, of course, benefit of the project, but teachers also get some professional training, and they will be more knowledgeable and get more tools how to teach about the EU. So there were the objectives, and then what we propose, what kind of activities, what kind of projects you can submit to us. So first of all, we have an action called teacher training. I will explain later who is eligible and so on, but this is the projects that help to prepare teachers to teach about the EU. So I understand very well that not all teachers they have this knowledge already, and they maybe not have possibilities in the Bulgarian system to get this kind of trainings, but via this teacher training, they could get this knowledge, they could get the methodologies, they could get even ready content to use. So they will be more equipped, better prepared to conduct such lessons. So this is one. The another one is learning initiative. This is a project for any school. So any school can apply for this project, and this is about teaching on the EU. So we required you to provide some teaching for 3 years, and you receive some money to conduct the activities and so on. The third action is the networks. So there is also the possibility that the schools, they can get in a network, they can work together, and they can do the exchanges between the teachers, between the pupils. But then, of course, there is some requirements in relation to how this network should look like. Don't worry, this is coming in my presentation. So let's start then from the teacher training. who can apply for this kind of action? So this is, it can be higher education institutions. So I'm not so knowledgeable about the Bulgarian education landscape, but I can imagine that you have maybe some pedagogical institutes that they train teachers in general, and they could apply for this kind of projects. So in the trainings that they propose specific training dedicated on the EU content, on how to teach about EU in an engaging way, so that the pupils are interested and keen on. But maybe you have a specific institutions and agencies here that are responsible for such kind of trainings. For example, in Poland, I know there is a specific agency that just their main activity is to train the teachers. So this kind of institutions, they could apply for this kind of projects that will run for 3 years for a maximum amount of 300,000 euro. And within this project, they will design this content, they will design these methodologies, and they will, of course, be able to share this, disseminate this content. I would imagine if it would be an institution from Bulgaria, probably will prepare this content in Bulgarian for the Bulgarian teachers, so they will have already content in their language. And thanks to this, the teacher, they can get those trainings, they then get these methodologies and content, and they feel more prepared to conduct lessons on the EU. When it goes back to the learning initiative, as I said, this kind of project, it's proposed by a single school. So single school, primary, secondary, or vocational education. So you don't need any partners. It's a simple project, again, for 3 years with a maximum contribution in the context of, for the Bulgarian school, is 22,000 euro. So within such a project, you propose to conduct at least 40 hours per year of this teaching with the EU content. So I would say you are, for example, you are English teacher, and you teach generally English language, but you could include some content on the EU, and it's very easy because you can have a lot of content in English about the EU that you could use for your classes. You are a history teacher, and at some point you teach on the contemporary history, and you will teach about the EU, and so on and so on. I know that you have also this civic education classes. There are some hours foreseen in the curricula for teaching. So you could do also during those 2 hours or those hours. But I was just meeting some schools this morning, and they said that the curricula can be very restrictive. So you don't have maybe a lot of possibilities to include this content in the current curriculum, but some, they just trying to do this teaching hours via additional activities. So additional, like via some clubs, like EU clubs, or I don't know, other activities. So some way to find that those teaching hours are, that you arrive to at least those minimum 40 teaching hours per year. So this kind of projects, of course, the aim of those kind of projects is to that our students, our pupils, they become more aware of the EU policies, about the EU subjects, and that they feel more linked to the EU, and they know what it means to be an active citizen. But it's you can have a very nice activities for them. For the pupils that maybe you don't have funds to have provided this kind of activities, you can organize some nice events, competitions with some prizes, and so on. Often the project organized these Europe days, and sometimes they have enough funds to bring even students to Brussels, so do the study visits, so they can come to Brussels and visit the European institutions. And this is very rewarding also for the students to take part in this kind of activities. And then in case, if you have already, you are working maybe with another schools in another EU countries, and maybe you know them from another Erasmus project, maybe you have good relations with, and you would like to create this kind of exchange and this collaboration with other schools. I would like draw your attention to this action, which is networks. But in this action, you need to build a kind of consortium. So you would need at least 6 applicants. It means 6 schools from 3 different countries. So it's more complicated, of course, because you have to have some partners and you have to collaborate with them. You have to create this project together and decide about the responsibilities for the activities, the roles, and so on. But of course, it's very much rewarding because the funding is much bigger. So you can do much more things. You can do exchanges between the schools. You can work together on the content of the courses. You can even co-teach if you feel like. But there is a lot of this cooperation and exchanges, which I think it's a great opportunity, I would say, also for the teacher and for the pupils, because everybody really enjoy these possibilities to see how the schools works in other countries, and how the teachers teach in other countries. So this is, I think, very interesting option, a very action, but it's like, I would say, you have to have some kind of already partners that are reliable, and then you can construct this kind of projects with them. So for the coming call, which will be published soon, we have this budget. This is general budget of Jean Monnet Actions, but for the specific actions that I mentioned just before, so teacher training, learning EU initiative, we have the 7,100,000 euro, and for the networks for the schools we have 2,000 euro. So it's not big money, but there are some opportunities, and I have to say that there is more and more applicants interested to participate in this kind of in these elections, but still the competition is not so tough, because when we talk about the higher education sector, it's a very high competition, and in the funding rate it's below 20%, but in this case we go for the success rate much lower. So that's why I encourage you to try. So as I said, the call will be published soon. The call is the program guide, Erasmus Program Guide 26, which are expected to have it published by the end of November. And then at this point, we will be able to open the possibility to submit the applications. And indicative submission deadline is 3rd of February. Why? Because we do our then selection in the spring. We can announce the results in summer. So it means that we can align with the new academic year, with the new school year. So we can sign the contracts as of August. So you can know if in the new school year you have a project and you can start implement the activities. As it concerns the evaluation, each project is evaluated against 4 award criteria. Those criteria are very clear and well described in the Erasmus Plus program guide. And there is nothing really to add. You have to just read carefully the program guide. And what is important, that you will have to tackle all those criteria, because under each criteria you have many sub-criteria, tackle them in your application. So, of course, it's very important that as you're applying for Jean Monnet Actions, you don't apply for other actions. So you have to be very specific in the way that this has to be relevant for us. And be relevant for Jean Monnet, it means that there is this EU angle. So there is the link to the EU legislations, EU policy, and so on. So this is not just a project. It's not just an exchange and mobility, whatever. It's really about this EU dimension that has to be very clear in the project. And then, of course, you have to describe well what you propose, what is your program, what activities, what kind of results you are eager to achieve with those activities, what are the staff that will take care about these activities, and how they are knowledgeable to contribute to the project. And as well, very important for us that you include this communication, dissemination activities. So at the same time, you're spreading around about Jean Monnet Actions and so on. So the impact should not only be limited to the school and to the students who had the occasion to participate in the activities, but think also that the impact maybe it's on the local community, or at least on the parents of those students. So this would be, I would say, minimum, but maybe at the local community, or maybe some even other, I don't know, some public authorities or whatever, civic organizations that are active in the surrounding. When it goes to the applying, I would like to explain you a bit, just to give you some hints where to go, where to find the call, and so on. So generally, all open calls, they're published in Funding and Tender portal. So this is like the main gate. So you go to the Funding and Tender portal, you type you type Jean Monnet, and you will not find it today because they are not open, but you can find from the previous years, which are closed. But as I said, by the end of November, we should open the new opportunities. So you can find this information. We also have this video that we propose you to watch if you really want to apply, showing really step by step how to apply. Because I understand it's not always very easy for a teacher to apply to this EU funding. Because, you know, you're maybe used to apply to the national scheme, so you are applying with the national agency and you know already very well the forms and you know how it works and so on. But when you apply to the centralized level, so directly to the Commission, the process is absolutely different. So for the first time, it can be a bit challenging because it's a big machine. So you can imagine that we use exactly the same system for the teachers applying for those small projects and for the big research organization that apply for a multinational, international project. They go via the same system. So, but just to not scare you, we have, there are a lot of who manage and it's absolutely manageable. And we have also one project coordinator with us who will share later on the experience, how she managed to do it, and it's not so bad. So don't be discouraged. But generally, if you go to the funding and tender folder and you click in the filters Jean Monnet, you will find the open topics, and then what is needed if you want to apply for any EU funding at the central level, you need this PIC. PIC is this participant identification code. This is a number of 9 digits, and it's given to any entity. So it's a unique number. So with this, only one organization, one institution can have this number. So it means that with this number you can apply to any programs. So probably I heard this morning that the schools in Bulgaria, they are autonomous. They don't depend on other entity. I hope that you confirm. So it means that it's very easy to apply, because if you don't depend on anyone else, you have all the documents that can be uploaded and can be validated, and you have your PIC number. And the good news, once you are applying, truly speaking, you don't need a valid PIC number. You need just the number, so these 9 digits, which you can create, because if you don't have it, you can create very quickly with the basic information like name of the school, address, and the coordinator. And then you live like this. And the validation of the PIC will start at the moment when your project will be funded, and we will have to prepare the contract. So you don't even need to have it already validated now, but only have this number. And then when you complete the application, you will see that we have some parts that are obligatory. There are some additional annexes if needed, but generally we have this general part, which is called Part A. It's like administrative, information about the school, and who is the coordinator and the budget requested. Then we have also some KPIs, so key performance indicators to be completed. So what are your plans? What kind of indicators you want to achieve? And then you will describe your proposals in the Part B. And for Learning EU, for example, you have only one annex, which is the budget. And that's it. But it looks like this more or less when you start your application. So on the very left side, you see there is this downloaded table Part B. So you can just download from here, complete. It's a Word document. So you just complete it and you save as PDF, and you will upload as an annex. In this file, you will also have the budget calculator. So you just complete and upload. Nothing, nothing extraordinary. Although it seems maybe difficult, but it's not. And just to let you know that when it concerns this Part B, so the description of the action, so how what you're planning to do, there is limitation 40 pages for Learning EU initiative, but it's absolutely enough. You don't have to, you don't need more. It's a lot already to explain the activities. And of course, for the bigger projects, so teacher training and networks, this limit is higher because, we expect more activities and more description of them. As it concerns the funding, so for the funding, we have a very simple way of funding. We call it lump sum funding. So there is no budget-based funding. There is no describing each cost and then at the final report checking if the cost occurred, not occurred, if you have to cut or not. No, you have to, for the Learning EU, it's like predefined amount. Predefined amount are available in the program guide. It looks like there's this table, but I didn't copy the whole table. The table is of course bigger, but just that you can visualize. So once you know how many teaching hours you want to deliver during those 3 years, you will just find in the table, okay, Bulgaria, how many hours, how much is it? So the table is bigger because it starts, minimum it's 120, but you can have 300, whatever. So you choose the amount, and then you will have this calculator as an annex. So once you will choose the topic, which we'll be learning here, you will choose Bulgaria, and you will introduce those teaching that you plan, the number of hours per year. The calculator will give you the final amount, so the amount that you can request. And it will appear here below, just in the table, and this you should introduce in the application. So it's very straightforward because you don't need to explain any expenses and so on. You just declare the number of hours. And once you implemented those hours, you will just declare at the final report level how many hours you implemented. So if we can, accordingly, we will pay for you. So I would say very simple. For teacher training and networks, we start with the detailed budget. So you have to, as it's a bigger funding, so you have to explain what you will do, who will be involved, the staff, what kind of activities. If you need, include some travel accommodation cost. If you need some other services, I don't know, create website and so on. So you describe more in the details the expenses. And then at the end, it will give you the final amount that you are allowed to. And this will be this lump sum amount that will be requested in the application. So this is more, it's more work, the prepare the budget. If you need any help on the how to find the call, how to submit the proposal, there is a lot of information on the funding and tender portal. Of course, you can. It's very well explained. It's very easy to find. There is you cannot miss. If you're still a bit lost, you can always contact me. But normally it's not, there is not a problem. So you in the grants applying for the funds, you have all this all those tabs that can be useful for you if needed. Some tips. Yes, so once applying, you should, first of all, you should have to think what you want to do, of course, who will be involved. Do you have, does your principal, is ready to commit? If they are interested in the school, if you have your colleagues that are interested, this is sometimes some teachers that are saying, yes, I have, I propose this in activities and so on, but some colleagues, they are not interested to do it because this is something extra. And I understand. If you do something extra, it's an extra effort and it's your extra time. So it's very important, the commitment of all the actors. So commitment of your principal, of other colleagues, that you have, that you can have prepared the proposals, but then successfully implement the proposals. When preparing the proposal, as I said, you don't have to write a lot. It's not necessary. I mean, it's not more that it's better. But what is important, that it's explained well, in a simple but well, what you propose. So what kind of activities? And what will be results of these activities? And what kind of impact it will have on the target groups that you identify. So I know that now there are a lot of applicants trying using these AI tools because it's easy. You go to the chat and you just put, okay, I want to apply for this. I put the work criteria and I want to have a project. We receive a lot of this kind of projects, and I have to tell you, they were written, but they are empty. I cannot find the meat, I cannot find the content. So there is a good English, there is, but yeah, by the way, you can apply in Bulgarian, of course. So they are well written, but it's very superficial. Because then at the end, if I want to know, but what about you are going to teach, I cannot find it. So I don't know what's about the courses. What is the, so I mean, it's not forbidden to use AI. Yeah? I'm truly speaking with not forbidden, but be aware that has its limitations. And maybe this kind of projects, they're acceptable, so they can maybe reach the 70 points. But have to tell you that be selected 70 points, it's generally not enough. You have to go above 80. So to have this small better than other, you have to put the effort that you really tackle the criteria, you really reply to all the questions, you really give the information, because sometimes the project, they have nice ideas, and teachers have a lot of ideas what to do, and for them it's somehow yes, I would do this and this, but they don't explain it well, and we cannot know. We don't know you. We don't know that you are doing already a good job and you will be able to implement a good project. We don't know. So any only information we have it in the proposal. So whatever you put in the proposal, this is the only information we consult. We'll not go and check your score. We'll not check what you are doing and how good you are in other projects. No, we only check the proposal. So you have to give us this information so we can assess. So don't send us the links. Look, I was doing there, and send us the link. We are not supposed to check those links. Give the information in the proposal. And I think 40 pages or 70 pages, it's enough to explain well and convince us that that it's worth it, that your project is funded. Yeah, just about this year results, just to let you know that the Learning EU initiative is becoming more and more popular, and this year we funded more than 100 projects. We have a lot of applicants for bizarre, very countries like we don't expect, like, for example, Czechia. So why not from Bulgaria? You know, because we always think, yeah, but they're always the same applying, France, Italy, whatever. No. The higher number of application was from Czechia. So you see, so you can surprise us next year as well. So there is, for the teacher training, we have not any Bulgarian so far. So please, go to the institutions that are dealing with teacher training and push them to apply. So they will prepare these teacher training activities for you, so you can be trained, you can benefit of these activities. I don't know who are those institutions, but you know better. Who should you contact? And for networks of school, we have already some school participating. This morning, I met one of the schools, and they're super excited to work with the schools in Portugal, Greece, and I don't know where, and they are doing activities together. So there is already. If you want to check which schools, I don't know if I put the slide, let me check. No, I didn't put, because I put the links, I think. I'm going quickly just to check. Yes. You can check in the Erasmus passport. Okay, I will come back. Sorry, I was wrong. But you can check for the previous project, so you can see who was already active. And even I think they will be happy if you can contact, the coordinator and ask them, yeah, maybe you can advise me something, how you did and how it works. So we don't have so many projects from Bulgaria, and this is some statistics for the recent years. So for this financial framework, as of 21, the Learning EU initiative started in 22. So it was 22, 3, 4, and 5, so 4 years. But we selected, so you can see we selected 4 projects. They're not a lot. But yeah, generally it's I mean, they were successful. So I would say, I wanted to say that those who applied, they were successful. So they prepared good projects. But the thing is that for me, there are not enough projects. I think you can make better. For 4 years, 4 projects, you know, it's very few. I think that this should be at least 4 per year, but okay. I think next year it will be better. So there is the way of improvement, but there are some. So that's not that it's zero. It's a good beginning. But that's why I'm here. I want to tell you also that there are already a lot of information, a lot of materials that are available and that you can use in your projects. So first of all, I provide you here the link to some successful projects. So this is for the inspiration, so you can go and check what they are doing, what kind of activities they are implementing, and so on. But there is also this learning corner when you have a lot of materials in all languages. So this is great because you go and you check what do you have in Bulgarian, and this is like, you know, ready things that you can use for your projects. And there is a lot of things. I'm sure that, I'm sure Jenny knows very well and informs.
And also they know, most of them know.
They know, yes. And the European Parliament, they have also. So the materials, there are already lots, so you don't have to even maybe not develop them yourself, but you can just use them. And there is some simulations and there are some games and quizzes and so on. So many tools already available for you that you just could include in your projects and do with your pupils. And then if you are thinking, oh yeah, but what subject and so on, I would say that naturally you would say, yes, I should teach about the history of the EU and about functioning of the institutions. I don't know how the parliament vote and so on. Sure, this is one of the subjects, is absolutely valuable. But truly speaking, EU content is in many areas of life. If you're a music teacher and you want to include the EU content in your classes, you can talk about this musical heritage that we have in the European countries. You know, if you are, I don't know, teacher of biology and you want to talk about the protection and environment, and then you can include the contents like Green Deal and so on. So in any topic, you can include this EU content. This is up to you and a bit of, you have to go maybe a bit outside of this traditional. And I don't know how much flexible you are when you are preparing your classes and the content of the classes. So this is, you know better. Yeah, so here are some useful links. So if you need more information on the specific actions, you can go and read. And of course, program guide in the Bible. So once it will be published, this is the point of reference for you. And as I said, if you want to be inspired by the previous projects, we also have the database where you can find them. But when I was in contact with Jenny, she also asked me, but can you maybe talk about another opportunities? Because of course, Jean Monnet Actions, great, but there are many more actions. So I have to say that I'm responsible for Jean Monnet Actions, so I'm very, easygoing to explain Jean Monnet Actions. I don't know all the Erasmus Plus opportunities because there are so many, and there are some that are managed at the central level and some that are managed by your national contact point. So it's not always easy to know all of them, but I found this publication I found very interesting for the school education. So if you have, if you want to another projects like, the mobility of people, so you want mobility of teachers and so on, they are very well described in this leaflet. I don't know if you had occasion to to consult this. If not, there is the link here. So, for example, from my side, I check what we, as the agency, what opportunities we offer at the centralized level, because what is offered by your national agency, then you have to go directly to them anyway. But I found it that there are some opportunities for teachers, so there is possibility of participating in these teacher academies. It's a bit similar to the teacher training, but less this EU studies dimension. There is one. There is also mobility for the learners and staff in adult education, adult generally, but of course also teachers, and teachers that can learn more about the EU. So there is one platform for this adult learning, and there is one for this European school education. I put the link so you can go there and explore more details, if you are somehow interested in these programs. Then for the pupils, because you talk to young people and they want to know what for them. So recently we have this program, Discover EU, probably you know. This is for young people, 18, 21 years old. They can get this travel experience, individual or group travel experience. They can apply for this kind of projects. So I think great opportunities for youngsters. And then this is outside of the Erasmus Plus European Solidarity Corps. This is for those who would like to experience some volunteering experience. So if you are eager to do some volunteering, individual or group, you can subscribe. There is a platform that you can subscribe as an individual, but you can also search for the organizations that already they're implementing this kind of projects. So you can do the volunteering in your country, in the neighboring countries in the EU, but you also can do a volunteering in the humanitarian volunteering, which is outside of the EU countries. And this one, it's even for a bit older, up to 35 years. So you have time. So your pupils have time, to come to it. But sometimes it's true, they ask what for me, what you can offer for me. So this is something that I identify what we do at the central level. But of course, check with your national agencies. They have many more opportunities. They have all these mobility opportunities and the partnership projects and so on. So check with them. Okay, then here is my contact address. So if you need anything from me, personally, I don't deal with the schools. I do deal with the higher education institutions. So if you will send a message to this, probably it will be not me who will reply, but my colleagues who are dealing with the school projects, but you will get the reply for sure, and don't hesitate to contact if you have any questions. And then I think we can pass to our project coordinator, one of our beneficiaries, that she was so nice to join us and share a bit of her experience, how it's happened for them.
Yes, we can give the floor. We can give the floor to Mrs. Ivanova. She is also a senior ambassador from Vratsa. So, Mrs. Ivanova, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to share my screen now. Let's see if it works. Yes, maybe yes, in a couple of seconds. Well, while it appears, I will ask you in a minute. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Of course, my aim is to encourage you all to try and write a proposal. Because what happens with these projects is that you get to plan your activities, and this is helpful for you, because your ideas and your activities become more visible, more happening one after another, and for sure happening. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see.
All right. Well, the first slide is for the logo of our project. You see, we asked the students to think of something that can represent our project, namely Bridge to My Europe. So in every document we had, we used this logo along with the school, the math school in Vratsa, of course, Ambassador School logo, and the co-funded by the European Union. Actually, I learned about this Jean Monnet Learning EU initiative from this network from Tanya Chuntova, and she was the one to inform us about this project, that we can actually get funds for the work we do. And I thought it was a nice thing to try. So my presentation will be short, maybe 7-8 minutes, and I will talk about those 4 points, important questions that you may think of. First of all, the application form. Monika said that in November all the required document will be uploaded on this funding and tenders portal. Yes, this is true, but at the beginning, actually you have this sample application that says sample all across the pages. And at the beginning I was thinking how to make this application work. So how can I go into it and start typing whatever I wanted to say? But the truth is, if it says sample, then you just can't edit it. You just have to do 2 things. You have to log in into the portal with the username and password, along with this PIC code that Monika mentioned. And also another thing, important thing, is the EU login app, because it asks you to verify that you are the person that has the right to act through 2-step verification. So basically this is it. Now if there is some information and it's a sample application, then you just can have an idea of what those 40 pages you are supposed to write look like, and maybe start writing a site in your Word document. But once the real invitation appears on the portal, then, as Monika showed us, you can download all the documents and start writing in them, then transferring them into PDF and uploading them into the system. Well, another important question is the language. Yes, I hear that Bulgarian can be used, but we used only English in writing our project. And also I heard that now we are at the 3rd year of our project, the final year, when we are supposed to report, and it is preferable, the English is the language of reporting, since it is like an advertisement for the things we've done, so more people can read about our efforts. In our team, we were 3 people, and I was the one that was the most active. And of course, I'm a teacher of English. I use English freely. At least one member should be like that, should be like me. But besides me, there was a history teacher and another English teacher, Kalina Nikolova. She has only 10 hours because she deals with Erasmus Plus, and this was the number of lessons she was okay to teach, while I had 40 and the history teacher had 40 per year. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here is the computer literacy, because the platform and the other part called Sigma. Sigma is the other project where you write at the beginning of this 3-year period and then at the end of the 3-year period. And it is nothing like the Windows and the Office, but it is more intuitive. You can still do it. It's not so complicated. You just have to look for the 3 dots. If there are 3 dots, then this is the important part. You just have to click on it, and there is a menu that links you to the other important sections of the navigation of the project. Now, the teaching lessons themselves, this is another important question. The major thing here is that preparing for those 40 lessons were outside of them. I had to be with students for 40 lessons, and the preparation of those lessons was outside of it. It's not included. But as Monika said, it could be part of your English lesson, it could be part of your history lesson, it could be part of your civic education lesson, biology lesson. It can be the form period lesson. Of course, as a club, as an extracurricular activity, especially if you have debates or meetings where a lot of people must come, they have to be outside of school lessons. Some of the types of lessons we had were debates, lectures, dramatization of, for example, human rights. I like this topic a lot. My colleague with the 10 lessons, she had a theater play based on something that Ingrid Shikova had written. We had quizzes, games, anything that can be appealing to students is fine. Of course, other activities we had was the traveling to Strasbourg. We decided Strasbourg because we visited Brussels before that, but the Commission, the European Commission's headquarters is in Brussels, so a visit to Brussels with a couple of students is also a nice activity. Also, we promised to write a handbook, to give the newsletters we created, and basically these were our activities in general. Now, regarding the questions, really, because we wrote our project in 2022, and we were the first school, I think. Okay, if not the first school, then one of the first of those 4. And I was really eager to pick up the phone and ask someone what to do, but in general, this is not the case. It's not done through phone calls or through emails even. Rather, it's all into the portal. One of the bodies you will be contacting at the beginning, once you are approved, is the Central Validation Service. You have some work with them, but through the portal you just pose your questions and they answer them. And of course, later on, I have been assigned a project officer that I've learned she no longer works with the commission, but never mind, they appoint another person. And whenever I had questions, I had a meeting with her via MS Teams, but once again our communication was through the portal. There is a special place when you manage your project and you have all the official documents and emails there. Yes, the agency here in Bulgaria isn't a body that answers any questions. This is a project that goes straight to Brussels. So these are the ways you can get your questions answered. But I can assure you that they're really helpful. They may be silent for a while, but they do have lots of work, but eventually they come up to you and they help you in the best way they can. Now, well, this was the end of my presentation, just to mention something that really the principal of the school, Tatiana Vasilieva, when I had the idea of applying, she was really happy to support me, because she was she saw how much effort I was putting into my senior ambassador work, and she was happy that I will get paid for this tough work that I was doing. But then one drawback maybe, and one thing you can think about, is that the principal or the vice principal have to support you during the way. They have to be present at some of the lessons, be there for you, so that you actually get this spark going along your colleagues as well. And well, that's it for now. Well, maybe just one more thing, that I actually was an EVS volunteer. Now it's called the Solidary Corps, but back in time it was an EVS. So I had this nice experience 1 year in England, near London, and it was really nice. Well, this was from my part. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ivalina. I have to say that I used to deal with the EVS program, so maybe you were one of my beneficiaries.
Maybe, but it was a long time ago. I won't tell you how many years ago.
Small. Huh? Thank you very much. I think this is very useful for our participants. I wanted just a bit pop up on what you said, that it's true that each of us, so each project officer, has the portfolio of around 100 projects. So if you will start to call us, impossible. It's impossible. So that's why no calling, except if the project officer propose a meeting to call, because the situation is difficult, maybe sometimes via the written communication. On the other side, why via portal? Because you can imagine that it can happen that the officer is absent for a long time, sick leave, holiday, and so on. And any of us, we can access to those communications. So in the worst case, if somebody is absent a long time, we can follow up on those. That's why we privilege the communication via this communication center. So, you know, somehow you cannot say, oh, I'm sending emails and nobody replying, because we can access those. But thank you very much for the tips. I hope that this encourages the other participant that it's not so complicated to participate. Look, she participated in the first year, so very freshly with very few information, and she managed, so this is absolutely feasible.